Okay, Po-Cheng, so we're here today for your Ascender session, and the discussion is about the goal setting that you've done at the start of the year, and also having a look at your measure data, measure week data from all the testing that we've done over the last year. Now, some of the things we have a look at is, number one is having a look at your driver statistics. Now, driver, you've done very, very well here. You're above average in every aspect, including the club head speed, the carry distance, and smash factor. So you're well above average there. You do a great job at driving the ball. So nothing really to work on there, which is great. Maybe a little accuracy, but that's very, very good. Next thing we have a look at is your medium approach. Now, it says here you've got an average slightly below the graduation year. However, the last one that we did was not so great, very, very windy day, which bumped your averages right down. So overall, with that very, very windy day dropped out, you're averaging just slightly above average here, around about 80 points, which is fantastic. So your ball striking's pretty good, all right? Can be a little bit more improvement there in regards to how you practice and what you do on the range instead of just hitting the same shot every time. Shaping shots, different clubs, pretending like you're on the golf course. Now, short game dispersion, very, very, very good. One of the best in the academy here. You're more than half the average of the rest of the graduation year. So sitting at 55 feet, everyone else is averaging 101 feet. So that's great. Your short game, you've got a great touch and feel around the green, so that's fantastic, mate. Now we can move on to putting. Putting is an area that we really need to do a little bit of work on. A couple of testings that we did here was your speed control, and you're averaging slightly above average, so that's not a bad thing, right? As the year has progressed from October, your score was below average, and then it's slowly gotten better, and the last lot of testing is 2.17. So very, very nice improvements there in regards to your speed control. It's something that you have been working on. The next one is putting inside of 15 feet, between 3 and 15 feet, and you are about average amongst the group. Your last score was 18, about 4 above average, so well, I should say below average. So an area that we need to focus on is really from 15 feet in, more so your makeable and holding putts. Now, one of the areas in your goal setting that we discussed was improve your putting performance, and specifically you've got here focus on your green reading. Now, we just had a little session on green reading. We talked a little bit about how to read the green, what influences your decision making, like the length of grass, the moisture, the type of grain, the type of grass. There's so many different variables there. What's one thing that stood out to you when we walked through that process? One thing that you really remember?
The grace.
The grain?
The grace walk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how do you read the grain? How can you see the grain? How do you know which way it goes?
First, I hit a hill.
Uh-huh.
Hill, and check another place, maybe the uphill to hole or downhill to hole, to help me to double check the ball line is which one is high.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the grain especially, which way the grass does grow. How can you determine that? How do you know which way the grass grows?
Where?
Yeah. How do you know? You have a look at the hole?
No. I use my eyes see the line.
Okay, but we're talking grain. The way the grass grows. Remember, we look at the hole, and we have a look at one edge of the hole that's burnt or starting to fray. That will be the way the grass grows towards that edge, and that's the way that you can tell which way the grain is going, because that has an influence over what your direction your ball will take. If it's down grain, very fast. If it's into grain, slower. If the grain is going right to left across your putt line, that means your ball will be pushed a little bit left because of that grain, and vice versa. So that's one thing to really, really take out of today, is learning how to read the grain a little bit more efficiently. And again, just taking notes of when you're on the course in tournaments, taking notes of where you miss it high or low, which will give you an indication of if you're under reading or over reading the putt. And taking other things into account, like we talked about, the direction of the grain, the moisture content, the grass length, the wind is another one, etc. So again, one major thing that we really need to focus on for the next 4 weeks or remainder of the semester is your level of focus. All right, focusing a little bit more, your level of intent when practicing with a little bit more intent and going through your range of motion and also your routine is going to be key to taking it to the tournaments and performing well in tournaments. All right, mate, so great job today, well done.
Yeah, thank you.